Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Reel Me In, a movie podcast, where you didn't really ask for it, but hey, I didn't give it, I'm going to give it to you anyways. This is a podcast where I talk about anything, everything, and, well, anything about movies. I'm your host, Chase Lee, and hey, guys, listen, you know, it's one of those things where, like, if you went on the internet and you were searching for, I don't know, some Donald Trump porn or presidential porn or whatever, you accidentally came across my movie podcast and you're not a movie fan, well, hopefully I can convince you to be one. This is episode 165, and welcome once again. What we do on this show is we look at some of the movie news, trailers that come out during the week, and we also review some of the movies that happen to come out on Friday, and that's why we do the show on Sunday, and of course, box office results for the weekend. So, on today's show, good old 165. I'm going to be doing the movie news, trailers, and have my reviews of The Founder, starring Michael Keaton, about McDonald's, and then my review of Split, the new M. Night Shyamalan movie, and it will be spoiler-free. I will also throw 3 mini reviews at you guys, just like super rapid fire, and give you guys a grade on them as well. So it's a big-ass show because you guys are fucking awesome. So, but first, how are we doing today? Are you guys... You guys doing pretty good? It's been one of those weeks where, a lot has happened. Martin Luther King Jr. Day, very powerful day, and then my birthday was on Thursday, and, Friday something happened. I think, I think I hit like a pole in the back of the parking lot when I was backing my car out. But I mean that's a big story, right? But how was you guys this week? You guys this week was pretty good. But let's not waste any more time, guys, and let's get started on this episode. So let's start with some movie news. There's a couple pieces of news that dropped, and I wanted to talk about both of them. I mean, there was a lot of news that dropped, but a lot of it was like superhero based or speculation. And I want to give you guys, good news, not just, straight up superhero news all the time, or, news that's just speculation. So, the first piece of news is that David Heyman, if you don't know that name, congratulations, he is flown under the radar. He's actually the guy responsible for producing the Harry Potter films. He's also done, like, the Legend of Tarzan movie that came out last year. He did Fantastic Beasts, so the guy knows how to produce blockbusters and franchises, and he knows how to market it towards that crowd that just loves blockbusters. He is going to adapt and produce the manga Attack on Titan. Now, if you guys don't know what this is about, the TV show that kind of has been blowing up is about this secluded kind of town or whatever, and they have these walls that are like thousands of feet high, and they keep out these giant, like, humanoid creatures that they call Titans, and these Titans, eat people. I know it sounds really fucking weird. It sounds like fetish porn, but just trust me. I actually went to the Asian Film Festival in Dallas here last year, and they actually played Attack on Titan Part 1 and Attack on Titan Part 2, and they basically just kind of crammed all of Season 1 into 2 films, basically. So I actually... For the most part, I got the Cliff Note version of it. I'm sure the TV show touched on a little bit more things, but as far as like the basic storyline, I pretty much got it for Season 1, and it's a really cool, epically told anime, and I really enjoy it from start to finish. The action is really well done. It looks beautiful. It just has like this grand scope that is really palpable, especially when your main characters are humans and they're fighting these giant creatures and stuff. It makes the action scenes a little bit more intense, and the emotion a little bit more heavier than normal shows. But I really like it quite a bit, and the fact that he's going to produce this and bring this live is very interesting, because I think Japan actually made their own live action version of their own manga, and it looked weird as shit. And I don't know if American audiences are going to grasp what this is and whatnot, because it is different. And the reason why I bring this up is because I saw Live by Night yesterday, and of course there was an old couple that sat in front of me, and there was a trailer for Anime Month that was happening at the Draft House, where they show some Miyazaki films, and after the preview and the trailer were done, the wife of the old couple was like, "What was that? That was weird," and then they shut up. So that's my point, is that there's a lot of people out there that don't really know anime or really respect it or want to give it a shot. They just think it's weird and kooky, and there's just a bunch of squids and octopuses having sex with humans. Here's the deal: is that I think when Ghost in the Shell comes out, that'll give us a good indication how Americans react to Japanese culture and adaptations and whatnot. Would I much rather them just release the old, anime Ghost in the Shell in the theaters? Yes. But if this is a way to get people into it and whatnot, I'm okay for that as well. So, because maybe if people like Ghost in the Shell, they'll be like, oh man, was this based on anything? Oh wow, it was based on an animated movie? Let me check it out. And then you'll be blown away. But for Attack on Titan, it's just going to be very odd to sell to American audiences, and I just don't know if most people are going to be into it. They might play on the hype of like monster movies and Pacific Rim and movies like that and stuff. So I don't know. Maybe they can spin it in a way. But David Heyman is one of those guys to where he took that Harry Potter book series and transformed it into one of the most profitable franchises of all time, and a very enjoyable and entertaining one at that. So he is definitely no fluke, and he yes, is he a producer in it to make the money? Sure he is, but I know that just looking at the Harry Potter films and looking at the other things he has produced, it looks like he actually cares and he wants to make the best product possible so he can make the most money, which is probably the smartest mindset you can have as a producer, instead of making the shittiest projects and be like, well, I'm going to get the money regardless. It's like, well, no, if you make an even better project, you'll probably get even more money. So it's a win-win for everyone. So this is interesting. I'm not going to say I buy or sell this piece of news, but as far as it being presented, I'm curious about it, and I'm curious to see how other people react to it. So, but we'll see how Ghost in the Shell does. And the last and final piece of news, guys, because there's a shit ton of trailers to talk about, is that Shazam and Black Adam are going to be standalone movies. Now, this was told by Dwayne Johnson on social medias this past week, and so basically, Black Adam and Shazam will not share a movie. They will each have their own separate movie. When I hear stuff like this, it just makes me question everything DC is planning over there. Now, I will be the one person to actually stand up for Man of Steel and stand up for the Ultimate Edition of BVS. I absolutely hated Suicide Squad. So, for me, in my eyes, they're two for three right now. I have a feeling, and I've said this before and I'll say it again, is that they're reactionary. They hear something bad or they hear something that's not working. There's like, oh, we got to change it. Or, oh, man, that's working over there. We got to make it just like that. And so I don't think this was genuine. I think it was just a reactionary thing because it's Dwayne Johnson. Like, well, we got to make it his own movie. It'll probably be better that way. And it's like, I just don't know what they're doing over there. Now, I am really hoping that Wonder Woman and Justice League are good. Because if they are good, then maybe the critics and the fans can be in good graces again with DC and their upcoming movies. But if these two do not do well, they will kill it at the box office for sure. But if the fans and the critics are not responsive, I don't know what their future actually holds, to be honest. Because if you fuck up Justice League and you fuck up Wonder Woman, those are two of your biggest properties you have right there. So I don't know about this. I mean, having them in their own standalone movies doesn't really make much sense to me. It would make even better sense if they were both in the same movie, since they both come from the same cloth in terms of like the same comic series. So I don't know about this. Warner Brothers, you're not going to listen to us, and why the fuck would you? I'm just some 2-bit dude from Dallas. But why are you doing this? Like, it seems like you've never had a plan from the beginning. Yes, you've had a slate of movies that have dropped, like, this is what we're going to make, but then you start changing shit around, and then you're like, oh, let's not do it that way, let's do it this way, and you're not sticking to your guns, and you're not doing anything confidently, you're just doing it all reactionary, and it's very embarrassing. But I don't know. We'll see. We got to make it to that point first, because these movies aren't even supposed to come out until, like, 2019 or 2020, so yeah, we gotta make it past Wonder Woman and Justice League first, but that is the news, is that they're going to basically split those characters up, and they're each going to have a standalone. So that is it for the news, guys. Comment down below which one was your favorite out of the 1 and 2. Let's get on to some movie trailers, guys. There's a lot of them, so let's get this going. let's start with Manifesto. This one stars Cate Blanchett. And basically, she plays like 13 characters, all of which are real-life people, I believe. And it's just kind of like an acting piece for her. It looks fun. It looks entertaining. It looks like she's really going to bring it acting-wise, playing these multiple roles. As you can, when I get to Split, you can probably hint at what I'm going to say about James McAvoy, but you know, when you play multiple roles in movies and stuff and not make it look corny or whatever, you can really kind of showcase your acting talents and your range, and I think this is what Cate Blanchett is going to do, and I think this is kind of like her acting opus, if you will. So, yeah, I don't really know what it's about, to be honest with you. I just know she's playing these 13 people, and it was basically a teaser trailer to kind of showcase you that, Cate Blanchett is in this. She's probably going to win an Oscar for this if it's good, and it looks like it's going to be just a blast. So, yeah, it looks interesting, and I'm excited to see all 13 of her roles. So, she's going to definitely Eddie Murphy it. So, hashtag Eddie Murphy it. Sorry, that's not going to happen? Okay, I'll shut up now. All right, next one is I Am Michael. Now, this one stars Zachary Quinto, good old Spock from the Star Trek reboot series, and James motherfucking Franco. Now, this one is about James Franco, who is a gay individual who has relationships, or a relation with Zachary Quinto and whatnot. And so he finds Jesus, essentially. He starts to become very religious, and he starts to deny himself into thinking that he's a homosexual, and he's now heterosexual because he believes in God, and he wiped away his sins. And so he tries to start a relationship with who was in this? Was it Emma Roberts? It was one of them. It was one of them. It was a lovely actress that I've seen before. Anyways, you know, they strike up a relationship, and then, you know, he goes back to Zachary Quinto, and Zachary Quinto's like, you know, this is not who you are. Like, you can't change who you were, son, dog. This trailer looks really great, and I really like what James is doing with his career. He does a little bit of everything. I did not see why him, didn't want to see it, but I know he's really good at doing those raunchy comedies, but I also know he's good at doing some dramas too. Just last year, I really fucking enjoyed 11/22/63, the JFK time travel one, where he tries to go back and tries to stop the assassination. That was really fascinating, and it ended up being a really sweet romance movie, or miniseries. But with this one, you can definitely tell that he's really putting a lot more effort into it. I'm not saying he never puts an effort, but when he actually, you know, shows a lot of emotion in his face with not really actually saying anything, then you know that Franco's here to play. Versus, like, you know, This Is the End, where, like, he's very entertaining, yes, and he's very, very funny, but that's not like an Oscar-winning role or whatever. And this, I don't think it is either, but it definitely shows people that Franco still, he still got it. So, yeah, I think it looks like a really good movie that's going to really kind of touch on, you know, sexuality and religion, and how, you know, people of religious faith think you can convert gay people, which, by the way, that's just stupid. But you know, have it to where, like what Zachary Quinto says in the trailer, that you can't change who you are. Like, this is who you are. Like, we were lovers. Like, that makes no sense. And I just think it's all about that peer pressure. And, you know, I think, you know, hopefully towards the end, Franco will realize, yeah, this is not who I am. I actually want to be with, you know, Mr. Quinto there. I believe this is based on a true story. I could be wrong, but I think it is. And that actually makes it even more exciting that they will be portraying real people. So, yeah, I think it looks like a really good little drama indie flick. The next one is The Discovery. Now, this one stars Jason Segel, my boy, and Rooney Mara, and I don't really know what it's about. I just know that it's a sci-fi film. You heard that right. Jason Segel is in a sci-fi film, and it's going to be dropping by Netflix, I believe, in March, but it's premiering at Sundance right now as we speak, and it looks interesting. I really like the fact that Jason Segel's kind of coming back into the limelight. I know he was in a movie 2 years ago with The End of the Tour, which I really adored. By the way, he was my pick for Best Supporting Actor that year, but that movie didn't even get touched at the Oscars. But anyways, him and Rooney Mara look like they're in a really cool type of AI sci-fi situation. I don't even know, like I said, what's going on, but the cinematography looks really dark and ominous. Really kind of sets the mood and the tone. And the acting looks like it's exceptional. So, yeah, there's really nothing more to talk about. But I think what I'm more excited for is that Jason Segel is coming back. Considering that after the Muppets in 2010 or 2011? Anyways, he was only in the end of the tour, I believe, and then after that, besides the end of the tour, he hasn't really been in anything. So, he kind of took a hiatus after the Muppets and How I Met Your Mother ended and whatnot. So, it is nice to kind of see him get back into the limelight and really kind of do something so different out of his wheelhouse. I mean, hell yeah, that makes me super excited because Jason Segel is one of my favorite comedic actors. I love him, and I Love You Man, This Is 40, Knocked Up, Forgetting Sarah Marshall, the one he wrote and starred in. So the guy's always been a comedic treasure in my eyes, but it's nice to see him doing a little something different. And then Rooney Mara, I mean, come on, she's always good. The next one, oh my God, is The Nut Job 2. That's right, folks. There's a sequel to The Nut Job coming out. And I will say this. God bless Will Arnett. That guy, he's just taking these jobs to support his kids, and you gotta respect him for it. I mean, Will Arnett's kind of having a resurgence right now, being in 4 Netflix shows and a bunch of movies and whatnot. Like it's kind of amazing. After Arrested Development, he kind of had this surplus in his career and whatnot. Even after his divorce with Amy Poehler, it's kind of amazing and kind of inspiring that he's finding all this work. I mean, because when you look at Netflix, he's on Arrested Development. He's on that show Flaked. He's BoJack Horseman. He is also in another one, which I will not spoil because it's kind of a surprise cameo. What else is he in? Could have sworn he did another animated one. No, that's H. John Benjamin. I'm thinking of Archer and Bob's Burgers. But yeah, he's kind of having this resurgence, if you will, and he's really great at voice work. If you watch BoJack Horseman, he really kind of adds that douchebaggery that character portrays. He portrays the selfless nature of him. He portrays the kind of the softer side of his character, the emotional states, the dry wit and humor. Every time when I think of Will Arnett, I think of BoJack Horseman. That is my number one go-to role that he's done, because I think that's one of the best things he's ever been a part of. Anyways, I'm just this is basically an advertisement for BoJack Horseman. Go watch BoJack Horseman. It's on Netflix. But The Nut Job 2. Oh my God, it just how does the animation quality dip from the first one? The first one already looked like mud was smeared on the animation slides or whatever, and then oh, it looks a little blurry and it looks a little muddy. Don't worry, we'll go with it. So, God, I don't know what to say. I can't believe the first one made enough money to garner a sequel. But God bless Will Arnett getting work. So go watch BoJack Horseman. That's basically what I'm saying. No, the trailer does not look good. The next trailer I want to talk about is My Life as a Zucchini. Now, you're probably thinking to yourself, what? And as you sit there in silence, I'm going to tell you right now that this is the animated film that was nominated with the Golden Globes in the category of Moana and Zootopia and whatnot. It looks really cool, actually. It looks like something Laika would do. It's got kind of that stop motion, creepy, Tim Burton-y ghost and ghoul quality to it. The kids look like they're dead zombies, but they're not. That's just the aesthetic from the film. I don't know. It looks interesting. I do like myself some stop motion and stuff, and if it isn't stop motion, some damn good work they got going on. But yeah, it looks interesting. So that's all I'll say. The next one I want to talk about is Colossal. Now, this one stars Anne Hathaway, Jason Sudeikis, and there is a kaiju basically running amok throughout the city, and Anne Hathaway is a drunk, and she realizes one day that she is actually controlling the monster that's destroying the city. I like this trailer quite a bit. Now, the humor for me didn't really work that much, but the humor is not what I really am drawn to. What I'm drawn to is this kind of notion of taking the monster genre, if you will, and flipping it on its head, making it into more of a comedy. But if you watch the trailer and watch her character, there's going to be a lot of dramatic stuff going on too. I think this is going to be a monster dramedy. Like, already right there, it's kind of like, not really spoiled, but it's pretty much a given, the fact that if Anne Hathaway is an alcoholic, she's got a lot of demons inside of her, and that monster that controls her addiction inside of her, she needs to rid of that, and that's what that monster represents. And that's kind of cool. Like, you're mixing a monster, the monster genre with like an addiction premise, and like maybe it's some lighter kind of comedy. Like, it's a very interesting idea for sure, and I like the trailer quite a bit. I think it looked really great. I think Anne Hathaway looks like she's going to give 110%. I love always seeing Jason Sudeikis pop up and stuff. So Colossal looks like a pretty good time that's actually going to probably have a lot more deeper stuff than on the surface. So yeah, I'm totally down for that one. The next one I want to talk about, is I don't feel at home in this world, and this also premiered at Sundance. This looks like, I don't know if you guys ever saw this movie God Bless America, where like this guy was just so sick and tired of America and like reality TV and just like the stupidity of people, that he would go around, and if people like were stupid around him or did something really stupid, he would just fucking kill them, just wipe them away. It's kind of like that, but definitely not as like camping at that. It's kind of like a more kind of grittier, more intense vibe to it. So Melanie Lewinsky, is that her name? She was on the show Togetherness, which I really enjoyed. But she basically just plays this person who's just tired of assholes, basically, and she does something about it. Like, there's a group of assholes that come across her, and she's like, I ain't taking this shit anymore. So she gets a fucking gun and just kind of goes ballistic. So I really like those types of premises where we have someone of society that's just tired of stupid people or asshole-ish people, and they want to do something about it. And they just don't give a fuck at that point, because they've just been so beaten down by the stupidity of America and the asshole nature of America, they are going to stand up and be a vigilante and do something about it. So I think it looks really, really fun. I think, who was in it? Elijah Wood? I think Elijah Wood was in it. Elijah looks really psychotic and crazy. So, yeah, it looks like a really fun time, and maybe have some deeper messages about, life in general and, people, society, social classes. So, I don't know. It could be interesting. So, and the next trailer I want to talk about is the Power Rangers trailer. Now, this is the full-length trailer. The first trailer that came out was just more of a teaser trailer. This is a full-fledged trailer to kind of show the story of the movie and kind of really show you what it's going to be about a little bit more than just flashing some images and going, Power Rangers. All right, so the trailer itself, I like it. Like, it looks fun. Like, it really does. It just it's basically taking the show, putting it more of a darker spin on it, a more grounded as you can make it type of aspect. And I thought the special effects looked really great. The suits looked really cool, and they looked like they're going to kick a lot of ass. It doesn't look like it's going to be bulky and annoying. It looks like it's going to fit the actors very well, and they're just gonna kick a lot of ass. Listen, I don't know how to like review this trailer. It's just more of those things of like, I grew up with this show. Obviously, I'm a '90s kid, and I always liked the show for what it was. It was campy as all shit, and I remember watching the movie in the theater. Ivan Ooze, yes. And I really enjoyed it for what it was. But it looks like they're gonna take more of a more serious approach to it, but still have like kind of like that tongue-in-cheek fun. I don't know, it looks like a good blend in my opinion. I like the actors' chemistry so far, and the Blue Ranger, played by R.C. Seiler, he was in one of my favorite films, Me, Myself, and the Dying Girl. Me and Earl and the Dying Girl, sorry. Me and Myself, was it Me, Myself, and Irene, the fucking Jim Carrey movie? Sorry. Yeah, as far as the trailer looks fun, looks energetic, looks like the special effects are going to be really great. It just looks like a entertaining, fun time at the theaters. I mean, there's really nothing more to say. And I think for all the people of the 90s, I think this is something that will be a really great kind of homage to the original while still making it different for younger audiences. So I'm kind of excited to see people get excited over something that, us mere 90s babies grew up on. So it's kind of fun. And the last trailer, oh my god. It is the second trailer. I usually don't do second trailers, but I feel like I have to do this one because there was a lot of issues that people had within this trailer. And that's the second trailer to Logan. This is also the Red Band trailer. So it shows way more blood. Show a couple of F-bombs, and I believe that was it. So I really like this trailer quite a bit. I like the first one as well. The first one sets up the mood and the atmosphere, and has a couple of lines of dialogue. But the second one actually has like a bit of the story, a lot more banter between X-23 and Wolverine and Professor X. It's got a little bit more action sequences, so you can kind of see the intensity and the brutality of what the Wolverine characters actually do. So I love the trailer from start to finish. I cannot wait for this film. I see it in a few weeks at a screening, so that will be a lot of fun. And then people have a lot of problem with the F words because they felt a little unnatural and it didn't feel like it flowed really that well. And a lot of people have a problem with Professor X saying the F word since he said it in the trailer. And my thing is, well, look at Days of Future Past or Apocalypse. Didn't McAvoy say both F-bombs? So, or was it Apocalypse? It was in one of them, but I mean, he said the F word. It is kind of weird because it's Patrick. I think it's because it's Patrick Stewart, not because of Professor X. But when you hang around Wolverine long enough, I mean, do you blame him? He probably would fucking curse. So, and then people had a lot of people had an issue with the scene where X-23 has an X-Men comic and Wolverine picks it up and goes, some of these stories aren't even true. Some of them are. A lot of people were kind of perturbed about that because it kind of takes away from some of the seriousness. I don't think so, because if you think about it, if the X-Men, got older and whatnot, maybe there was this crazy comic book artist out there that witnessed some of these events and was like, oh, I want to create a series out of this. So it's kind of like, if like Superman or Batman was real in our world, or even the X-Men, and someone witnessed it, that could be like, yeah, I want to take that character. If this was not IP, if it never existed, I'm going to take that character and, create some stories about it and whatnot, because I'm so inspired by this person's ideology, or, just the way they fight, bad people and whatnot. So, the comic thing didn't bother me because the fact that they are older in this universe tells me that, most of the X-Men are gone, which is true because it's not spoilers, it's in the beginning of the trailer. Most of the X-Men are gone, and so maybe all what's left of what their legacy is these comic strips of what people created about them and what they fantasize about them, and kind of, kind of the tales that they made up themselves. And that's why Jackman clearly says, like, most of these aren't even real. So it's kind of interesting that it's incorporating itself into a more of a realistic type of world, where if these were to exist, maybe someone would create the X-Men comic, if, like I said, if it never existed. So I didn't have a problem with that. The violence was so damn good. There was a fight scene with X-23 clawing some dude's face off, stabbing him in the neck, and I was like, yeah, they're really going for that R rating, which I fucking love, because when you think about Wolverine, he is a brutal character. He is a damaged character. There's a lot going on within him that doesn't need to restrict, his being and whatnot. Like, you just need to let him be Wolverine, be that gruff dude that drinks a lot of beer and curses a lot and goes berserker on people and blood's flying everywhere. Like, you need to show that, because that's what the character actually is in the comics. So I think actually doing it in the movie and making the violence a little bit more painful to watch, a little bit more brutal and bloody, it will add a lot more to the story versus like something that just seems gratuitous. So I think it'll actually do some good for the story, maybe actually add a little bit more emotional depth to Wolverine, especially if he might die in this one, then we can be like, man, this guy fought really hard to protect the people that he loved, and ultimately it didn't work, and you feel a little bit more connection when stuff like that happens, when you stay a little bit more true to the character. So that is it for my Logan trailer review, and that's it for all the trailer reviews. What was your favorite trailer? Mine? Since I already have seen a Logan trailer, I'm going to take that off the table. I kind of liked I Am Michael, I Don't Feel at Home in This World, and Power Rangers. Like, I like all three of them. You know, a couple indie films and a big blockbuster, so there you go. All right, guys, let's get into the meat of the podcast, what you all came here for. The appetizers are gone. They are out of the way. You guys fucking gobbled them up, spit them back out like some weird fucking mother bird into the throats of her children. So let's talk about some movies. Now, there were some movies that came out this weekend, a lot of them actually. We had The Founder, we had Split, we had Triple X, Return of Xander Cage, and I believe that's it. Okay, so let's start with The Founder. Now, I saw The Founder on Tuesday, and I was looking forward to it. I heard a lot of great things from Michael Keaton's performance, and the fact that they pushed this from August to December for a limited release. You were like, oh my god, they're going to push this for Oscars and whatnot. So it finally comes out wide, and what do I think of it? I liked it, but I'm kind of like on the fence of disliking it just because the person that he portrays is so goddamn awful. So, but then again, I like films like Wolf of Wall Street and Social Network, which also feature famous real-life people who screwed a lot of people over to get what they want in life and be ahead. Okay, so let's get real and break this down. So let's start with the writing and directing. As far as the writing goes, and as far as a biopic goes, I was intrigued. This guy, Ray Kroc, who went to the McDonald's brothers, saw an idea, an opportunity to expand the franchise into what we know today. He took that and ran with it, and that's great. But as the movie progresses, he starts screwing the McDonald's brothers over, and, you know, he ends up, you know, essentially running the company. And this isn't really spoiler because, I mean, this happened in real life. But I think the fascination with betrayal and greed and just awful asshole nature of Ray Kroc was actually really intriguing. And I didn't find the story at any fault because I don't know how much was true, but I can tell you after reading up on all the history behind this, it seemed like the majority of it was true. And just watching it unfold, I'm just like, I cannot believe people act this way. Where they see something that's obviously not theirs, they work with the owners to try to make it bigger or fix it or whatever, and then they end up screwing them and taking over. And it's like, that is one of the most awful traits you can have as a human being. So it does have like that, like I said, the elements of fascination, intrigue, greed, and corruption within businesses, and it's gross. It's gross fucking behavior from people, but for some weird reason we like it in our entertainment, and I do like the story for that regard. It is a very well written biopic. Here comes the direction part, because this is where I kind of fall, it's kind of mixed in the movie. As far as John Lee Hancock's visual aesthetic of the film, it's really well done. The movie takes place in the 50s and the 60s, and you have the cars, you have the bright colors with the clothes and the buildings, and you can definitely tell they spent a lot of time really kind of putting you into that decade, really making you live the story as it's happening. I appreciate that from John Lee Hancock, no doubt. Here are my couple negatives with his directing. Number one, John Lee Hancock is used to making kind of Hollywoodized biopics. And what I mean by that is they look too damn shiny, they look too damn glossy, and they don't feel particularly real. John Lee Hancock is the same guy behind The Blind Side, which was also one of the most like Hollywoody movies to win an Oscar. Sandra Bullock won Best Actress that year. He also did the Alamo movie, and the one that actually worked was Saving Mr. Banks, because I actually thought, since that's kind of Disney, it deals with like, the Disney magic and whatnot, I thought the kind of like Hollywood glossiness of that one actually worked. But for this one, I just think with a story where your main character is featured as a complete dickbag, and the movie doesn't really have like that, I don't know how to put like that depth. Like it just seems like, yes, they portrayed him as an awful person, and he doesn't, really care for anyone except for himself. Like that seemed like the type of material for like a David Fincher or like a Martin Scorsese when they did The Social Network and The Wolf of Wall Street, because yes, they had their fun parts in the movies, but they also had those like deep emotional parts to really kind of, I don't know, maybe you feel conflicted about Ray Kroc. As soon as he turns bad, he doesn't redeem himself, and like towards the end of the movie he tries to redeem himself, but at that point it's too fucking late. So when you're dealing with this type of story and character, you want to kind of, I don't know, have a little bit more, punch to it, I guess. I don't know. It's like, I'd rather you go like super like heavy with it, or like, I guess light. I don't know. It just, the subject matter was so, like I said, greedy and ridiculous, but then like the whole atmosphere of the movie was like totally confused with like how happy it was, and I don't know, because there was a couple scenes where something serious was supposed to happen, but then the music would be like super happy, and I'm just like, what the fuck are you trying to portray, Mr. Hancock? So yeah, I just think tonally it is all over the place, even though I think it's a solid movie for the most part. And then I wish there was just a little bit more emotional depth and punch to it. It just felt like they scratched the surface and really never kind of explored it as much as they could have. Let's see what else. What is with the directing? In the end of the movie, I'm not going to reveal what happens, but at the end of the movie, I mean, it just kind of ends. And you kind of think to yourself, like, why was this movie even made? Like, honestly, because it's about a terrible person. So why was this ultimately made, and what was the message? And I think the confusion of the message at the very end is going to really kind of turn people off, because there was a little kid behind me to where after the movie, he looked over at his dad and he was like, so the lesson is you can take whatever you want and screw people over? Like, so that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not saying that every biopic has to have a happy message if it's based on real life events and whatnot, but like, it's just like, what was the point of following this dude then? You know what I'm saying? So, but it didn't, like I said, it didn't have that depth as, like a Social Network or Wolf of Wall Street, with like the beautiful cinematography or like epic score, brilliant acting, to where I was like engaged from start to finish. And I was engaged from start to finish here. But the fact that the end has a terrible message, and it doesn't really explore much beyond that, it just comes across as a movie about a terrible person. And that doesn't really make you want to watch it again or even discuss it afterwards. But, so that's it with the writing and directing. It's kind of like, a little bit of positive, a little bit negative. Acting wise, here's the deal. Michael Keaton is fantastic. He portrays Ray Kroc so well. At the beginning, he's just a guy down on his luck. He's a salesman. He's hustling. He's burning rubber, and he's going from these restaurant to restaurant, diner to diner, trying to sell his shake machine. He sees an opportunity at McDonald's. He flips his life around, and then he becomes, the greedy bastard that he becomes. And I thought he portrayed it very well. And he walked that thin line to where you realize what he was doing on screen was very questionable, very morally corrupt, but he almost had like this sadistic charm to him, and you're like, God damn it, I kind of like him. Like, he's just so damn charming. So, I thought he portrayed both sides very, very well. As far as the other actors, the McDonald's brothers, Nick Offerman, and I forgot the other guy who played the other brother, they were a great yin and yang pair. One brother was totally for doing it. One brother was totally against it. And, they were working, against each other, and you can just see the defeat in their eyes. And I just thought they had a lot more, layers than what most people would believe. So I believe those three core people are excellent. Laura Dern's also in this movie. I gotta be honest with you. Her chemistry with Michael Keaton, because they were supposed to play husband and wife, wasn't really there, but maybe that was the point, considering one of the, plot shifts in the middle of the movie. I get it, but they had no chemistry, and I wasn't really feeling it, and her character was also very unlikable, just like Michael Keaton, so I really didn't care about her, and, she was supposed to have, a subplot or, a side story, and just didn't really go anywhere, and I was like, well, what was the point in that? There was a couple other actors that kind of pop into the scene, and they're also terrible people, and they kind of just ruin, lives and whatnot. It's just, I don't know. It's just everyone had this unsettling vibe to them, and I was just like, yeah, I'm not really feeling it, fam. But Michael Keaton was definitely great in the role. Cinematography, nothing with the actual shot composition or the way the camera moved was epic or anything memorable, but the colors do pop, and they were very vibrant and rich from the set design, art direction, and production design, so I will give them that the cinematography was at least good looking to look at, and when your eye would wander in a scene or whatever and kind of look around, you would see the different aspects about the 50s and 60s, whether it be a chair, a telephone, even down to a pen or a picture, so it was really well done that way. Editing wise, the movie's about 2 hours long, and I really didn't feel the length, but I can imagine some people will, just because it is a very unlikable movie. This guy's a piece of shit. So you're probably going to sit there and be like, well, I really don't want to root for this guy, and so your experience will actually probably lengthen because of that. So I have a feeling that it might be a little slower for some people just because of the unlikability and basically cruel nature of the film. Even it was turning me off a little bit. So overall, guys, listen. As a biopic, I think it's solid. I think it's a nice little solid biopic that probably won't win any Oscars or even be nominated. It actually will probably get nominated maybe for production design or art direction. It'll probably get nominated, or costumes, I don't know. It'll probably get nominated for one of those. But as far as the movie goes, the fact that Ray Kroc is such an unlikable son of a bitch, it makes it really hard to like the movie, but deep down it was a solidly made biopic. The direction was, at least the direction stuck with it, because they portrayed Ray Kroc as he was. So I thought John Lee Hancock's direction was good. I thought the acting all around was very good. Michael Keaton was definitely the standout. The cinematography was kind of bland, but I do love the colors that inhabited each scene, and the fascination of this character and just see where he's going to end up should make the 2 hour runtime go a little faster, but given who he is, it's very hard to like the movie. So that's why I was kind of teetering back and forth, because throughout the whole movie I was like, oh, I'll give this movie a B. I think it's a solid movie, but I just think the fact that besides the McDonald's brothers, everyone is so unwatchable in terms of their characters and their despicable natures, I had to dip it down to a B-. It's just one of those movies I really don't want to watch again. And once again, people are going to fire back at me with, well, you like The Social Network, that was about someone screwing people over, and then The Wolf of Wall Street, that was about someone screwing people over. But when they're done by expert directors and they make everything sing in their own categories, the direction is swift, the cinematography is wide and beautiful, the music is haunting and memorable, the performances are so layered and dramatically grounded. That's why those films work way better than The Founder, and I really wish one of those directors or a director of that caliber would have tackled The Founder instead, and it could have been one of my favorites of last year. So I'm going to give The Founder a B-. What did you guys think of The Founder? Have you even heard of it? Comment in the place from my face and let me know. And this is definitely an anti-McDonald's movie, and I definitely don't want to eat there ever again. All right, so that's the first review. The second review is Split. Now, I just got back from this, and I had some time to think about it on the car ride over. And I gotta tell you, I really like this movie quite a bit. So let me give you guys my little history on M. Night Shyamalan as a director. I really like Sixth Sense quite a bit. I need to see Unbreakable again, but from when I did see it, I really did enjoy it. Signs might be my favorite. I actually like The Village as what it is, a romance film, not a scary monster flick. Lady in the Water didn't really care for. The Happening is like one of those movies that you would love to watch while you're drunk. Last Airbender, no thank you. I even liked Devil. I know he didn't direct it or write it. He just provided the story and produced it. I still liked it. I did not see After Earth. And then The Visit was actually a really great return to Shyamalan, creating those like smaller indie films, having that classic M. Night kind of creepy, suspenseful vibe. So he really kind of brought it back with The Visit. Here comes Split. This is spoiler free, so I will not reveal anything. I will not spoil anything. But what I can tell you is that this film's success, because when we get to the box office, it'll kind of shock you. This film's success tells me that this will be kind of the rebirth of Shyamalan, if you will, and he's going to do more stuff. I'm just going to leave it at that. So let's get real and break down Split. So let's start with the writing and directing. Starting with the writing itself, it opens up very, very well, where we have these three girls go inside of a car. One of their dads is probably chloroformed and dragged off, and then James McAvoy gets in the car, and the girls think it's an accident, and then he basically knocks them unconscious with I think like a chloroformic spray, if you will. And this is not a spoiler; it's in the trailers. And then they are held captive by Kevin, played by James McAvoy, who has 23 personalities, and they all, not all of them, but most of them show up to play. And there's a 24th one that he hasn't unleashed yet. That's all I'll say. So let's break it down individually. Story-wise and the actual writing. So let's get the elephant out of the room out of the way right now. Sometimes Shyamalan can have pretty shitty dialogue. I will be the first one to admit that. And even in Split, there's a couple lines where it's kind of cringeworthy, and I hate using that word, but it's just like you kind of shudder a little bit and your hair's raised on the back of your neck in a bad way. You're like, ugh. So I'm not going to lie, some of the dialogue didn't work for me, but for the most part, I was really intrigued from the story. I was so glued in. I was so focused because as soon as the movie opened, it's a great hook to really kind of get you into the story. Just like with The Sixth Sense, because I rewatched it last night. Well, half of it. But I've seen it before. But when you rewatch it knowing the ending, that opening of the movie is actually, it's just so powerful, and it just takes you in and does not let go. And that's how M. Night does his movies. He always creates really great openings, and you are always like hooked for the most part, unless you just don't like life. But as far as Split goes, it throws you into the situation right away and gets going. And then throughout the story, it's kind of played it's played linearly, but there's also some flashbacks and stuff to kind of get to a little bit more about the main character played by Anya Taylor-Joy, and that is your movie. Now, like I said, without spoiling the ending or actually what even goes on in general, it's going to be really hard to talk about this movie, but as far as the actual story goes, it plays out like a great mystery. You want to know what is up with Kevin, how bad is his DID, what? Oh my god. Okay, guys. Well, this is an awkward part. I'm just gonna go now. Bye, everyone. No, dissociative identity disorder. Oh my god. There's a reason why I didn't get my doctorate. Or even my master's. So, anyways, the DID, the identity disorder. We kind of get to see little snippets of each personality, and we just kind of see, like, where is the movie going to go? Like, what is wrong with Kevin, and why does he have these personalities, and, how he interacts with his therapist, and how he interacts with the girls and whatnot. So I think just from the intriguing nature alone with the story, with the great layered acting from James McAvoy, I think the story itself is very riveting, and at the very end of the movie, when the reveal happens, it's not really a twist, it's just a reveal, I I think it'll shock you, and you'll be like, holy shit, so many possibilities. But the initial kind of like reveal in the middle of the movie, to be honest with you, I was actually kind of iffy about it. I was like, oh no, is this what they're going to be doing with it? It just, nothing's really working. It doesn't really seem to fit. It just kind of comes out of nowhere. But you're going to go along with it and stuff because people keep raving about it. I'm like, well, what are these people talking about? And then at the very end, that's what people were talking about. And then when you look back on all the other kind of minor reveals throughout the movie, you go, you know what? That makes some good sense to me. So, yeah, I think for the most part, the story is really well done, even though the dialogue can be a little iffy sometimes. The directing, M. Night, you can love him, you can hate him, but what he does best is create tension, create that suspenseful atmosphere, dreading these people in the movie. Like, it just, you feel every time, like when the main character does something, when they get up out of the floor, when they leave the room, when they talk to other people, like every single scene is set up with this atmosphere and this tension that is just so palpable, and you're like, I can't believe M. Night, can still make these movies and stuff even after all the criticism he's been getting lately. But what he creates is, like I said, that dreaded atmosphere. You don't know what's going to happen, and that's what's cool about this movie. You can sit there and try to plan it out as much as you want, but you do not have any idea where this movie's going, and that's what's cool about it. Each scene is setting up just more nail-biting tension, and you're like, oh my God, Shyamalan, what are you going to do? Like, my God. So, yeah, I think the tension is very palpable. I think his direction is very sharp, it is very precise, and it's very focused, given the fact that it takes place mainly in this mysterious kind of bunker type area. It adds more claustrophobia, it adds more engaginess, or engagement into the movie itself. So I think the direction is very sharp from Shyamalan, and he really does create some genuine kind of terrifying moments and really great scares by using the setting and the cinematography and lighting and stuff. He really does create some really good creepy moments. I'm like, Shyamalan, you still got it, buddy. And also, what I really do appreciate about Shyamalan's direction in this film and in his other films, he's not afraid to go down like these mature themes. Like, this movie has a lot of stuff in it. I was like, I can't believe they got away with it from the MPAA. Like, it's pretty disturbing stuff. It doesn't blatantly happen, but it's the implication that matters, and you know what it is, and you just feel gross like thinking about it and stuff. So I think M. Night is the master at really kind of creating these like adult PG-13 type of movies with like really kind of deep, dark, disturbing backstories from these characters, and really make something a little bit more mature and not just something like a Ouija or something. So I think his direction is very, very well done. Acting-wise, listen, if this came out later in the year, would McAvoy get nominated for an Oscar? I don't know about that. But I will say this, is that he is wonderful. He is so creepy, so energetic, so mellow. Like, he portrays a lot of different emotions throughout his personalities and identities and whatnot. And he plays a 9-year-old at one point, he plays a woman at one point, he plays a creepy kind of guy that likes to watch girls undress, he plays another guy who's kind of an artist. Like, he inhabited all the characters very, very well, to where it looked flawless. It didn't look like he was struggling at all. Like, it all fit and it all felt natural. Anya Taylor-Joy was also very good. She's kind of a quiet character at the beginning. You don't really get to know much about her. And then, towards the middle, when you find out some of her past, and you realize that her and McAvoy are a little bit more connected than you thought, it's kind of amazing to kind of see her shift in her acting. Because, like I said in the beginning, like, she's fine, but towards the middle and towards the end, like, she gets so her character gets so emotionally heavy that you believe every single look that she gives, or her eyes tell a lot of the story as well, and just the way she speaks and the way her posture is, like, it does, like, it. She has like this nice little character arc while getting to know her character as well, with like kind of that emotional punch you would want to really become like invested in stuff. So I thought her character was really well handled, and she became badass towards the end. There's nothing wrong with that. Not gonna lie, all the rest are okay. So the therapist and the two other girls that get trapped with Anya Taylor-Joy, those two girls are very average by comparison. Like, Anya Taylor-Joy is a very, very good up-and-coming actress. These two actresses are like, yeah, we have a movie to put on our resume now. I never once like bought into their performances, and like I said, with some of the dialogue being a little iffy, their line reading came off as a little sketchy. The therapist, I mean, she was fine. Nothing really like memorable. But the two people you look for is James McAvoy and Anya Taylor-Joy. They really kind of drive the emotional intensity for the film and the characters themselves. Now, a lot of people out there are having a real issue with the way DID is portrayed in this film. I didn't think it was inflammatory. I didn't think it was like anything that would, against DID. I didn't feel like there was any hate towards it or any discrimination or whatnot. It was a tool used for a character to, show how he functions. Like, I never looked at it as like, I'm not going, yeah, I'm going to hate on people with identity disorder. Yeah, this is my goal. That never came across to me. I know a lot of people are, seeing this movie that way, but I didn't look at it that way. I just looked at it as a really well done, suspenseful thriller with a good villainy character with interesting attributes. That's the way I looked at it. So, yeah, and so like I said, everyone else is just fine. Cinematography wise, once again, when you have like a one setting location, you can feel like kind of that dread and that claustrophobia just reigning over each scene. I love the way the bunker looked. It was creepy. It was rusty. It definitely looked like you didn't want to be there. And like I said, when you find out where they were actually at, it's actually even creepier a little bit. But I love the way the camera moves down the hall with the characters to really kind of follow the action, really kind of follow the scares and the terror and whatnot. It kind of, like I said, it puts you into the character's shoes, really kind of adding that extra level of terror that you would want as an audience member seeing these movies. There's some interesting shots with the lighting and just how it's positioned on certain characters, and a lot of them are stagnant medium shots or stagnant close-ups, but the performances are so good, and there's a lot going on in each scene to where that really never bothered me, and it actually helps the film breathe and kind of take this slow burn journey that you would want. And I think it totally works for this one. But there was a shot at the end of the movie that was like, it was really cool how it stayed there. It was a stagnant shot, but the way it was lit and the action happening in the scene, I was like, M. Night still got those horror touches, he's got those little horror flares that he's just like, I'm gonna sprinkle that in there. So I really enjoyed that. So that's the cinematography. Okay. Editing wise, the movie is about, what was it, like an hour 45, 2 hours or something like that. It flew by for me. I really love like mysteries like this, or like thrillers that just kind of keep you guessing from start to finish, and you're just really curious as to what the hell is going to happen next, and you're really captivated by the performances. So I had no issue with the length of this movie. I think it was as perfect as it could be for this story. Like I said, it is a bit of a slow burn, but it's like lighting the most hot match and putting it towards your skin and getting closer to your skin as it's like burning on the piece of wood or whatever. Because that's a terrible analogy. I apologize. But it is like striking a match and like that's what I meant. Anticipating the flame to hit your hand when it's done with the stick. You know it's gonna hit it, but you're still kind of curious as to like if it'll burn as bad as people say it will be, or like, you know, if the hairs will singe off, will it leave a scar. I don't know, guys. I'm not terrible with I'm terrible with comparisons. You know that. Hey, listen, I'm no Chris Stuckman or Collider Movie Talk. I can't speak in well structured grammatical sentences, so I apologize for that. But you guys know what I mean. It's not a fast paced movie by any means. It is a movie that takes its time. It's a movie that allows the characters to breathe in each scene, so you can kind of get immersed into the world. So I think the actual runtime of the movie is perfect. So, and then the music. The music is really well done too. And then I will say this, without spoiling the ending, just keep watching the movie. That's all I'll say. Just keep watching it. You know, just make sure you stay until you at least see the credits show. That's all I'll say. Because it will really add some context into the movie you just saw. So I'm really excited to see what M. Night does in his career and just makes more movies in general. I think this is a really well done thriller with some really great performances. It gets creepy at sometimes. It gets mysterious sometimes. It's very suspenseful. Keeps you on the edge of your seat. I just think it's a very solid film from him. Guys, I can't recommend Split higher. I'm going to give Split a B+. So have you seen Split or have you even heard of it? And, you know, maybe you can private message me and we can talk about the ending or whatnot, because trust me, the reveal adds a whole different dimension, folks. So, to the movie that you just saw. So, I really liked it quite a bit, and, you know, maybe if I go see it again or more I think about it, I might bump up my score, but for right now, I'm going to give Split a B+. So the Founder gets a B-, and the Split gets a B+. The 3 bonus movies that I saw Triple X Return of Xander Cage, but I was not going to waste an entire episode on it. It's crazy, stupid, dumb fun, with a really cool shot that I really liked at the end. The action sequences are fine. Donnie Yen's cool to see kick ass, and so is Tony Jaa. I mean, that's all I'll say. It's fun. I'd probably give it like, believe it or not, I'd probably just give it a solid B. Like, for what it is, not taking itself too seriously and just having a shit ton of fun, it delivers. So there you go. Another movie I saw, just real fast, I saw Live by Night. Ben Affleck directed. I don't understand the hate surrounding this film. I do think it's the most gangster movie that's been made in a while. I don't think it's terrible, but it's also not the greatest either. I think it is definitely his weakest film. It never had that hard impact you would expect from a gangster film. It always just felt like it was on the cusp of being great, but it was just kind of just walking that thin line of it's fine, I guess. There's a lot of slow scenes which didn't really bother me, but when the action would pick up, it would really pick up the film, and then would just slow down to a screeching halt afterwards. I thought the set design and production design was really well done. I love the clothes, the hats, the cars, and the buildings. I loved all of that. I loved the look of it. I thought the female characters and some of the characters in general were just shoehorned in there to be a subplot that I felt like didn't really have any too much impact on the story. Yes, they had an impact, I guess, somewhat, but it never felt like that. It just felt like they came into the story and then they just left. Ben Affleck is fine, I guess. I'd probably give Live by Night a C+, to be honest with you. Not my favorite of his. It's just kind of a little bit above average to me. It's just very meh. I also saw Patriots Day. I love this film. And if I would have saw it last year, I might have put it in my top 10. I thought it was visceral. I thought it was gritty. I thought it was really well handled and not feel like it's gratuitous in any way. I felt like Peter Berg really kind of paid homage to the people that lost their lives while still creating an entertaining movie, because it's a movie first and foremost. So it is an entertaining movie. Marky Mark delivers one of my favorite scenes of the entire year last year. It's a scene in the middle of the movie or whatever. It's so well done, and you can see the pain in his face and his eyes and the anger and the sadness. There's just all these emotions coming in at coming in at once, and I was like, Mark, you still got it, brother. I thought the action was really well grounded and disturbing and like super realistic in terms of the blood and gore. It was just a really well done, I would say, thriller. Like it really was, and the fact that it was based on real life people and events and whatnot, and just you have even more respect for it. So to be honest with you, I'd probably give Patriots Day a solid A. I enjoyed it that much, and it really left an impact on me, just like with Deepwater Horizon, which was also really great from the same team. So, yeah, Patriots Day, A, Live by Night, C+, and Triple X, Return of Xander Cage gets a solid B, Split B+, Founder B-. So, kind of all over the board this week, but that's okay, guys. What about the other 3 movies? Did you guys see those? Comment in the place for my face, let me know. So, let's get into the box office results for the weekend, guys. All right. So let's start with number 5. Well, first of all, The Founder came in at 9th place with $3.7 million. Woof. Also, Silence has only made $1.5 million so far. Or they made $1.5 million this weekend. It's only made 5 so far. It's very disappointing, huh? Especially since the movie is great. So number 5 is La La Land with $8.3 million. Its total right now, which is insane to me. Its domestic total, which is the U.S. and Canada, is $89 million. Its worldwide total is $173 on a budget of $30 million. Double that for the theater cut. And then marketing, advertising, I'm going to say they spent about maybe $20-25 million. So I'm going to say like $85 million just conservatively. That they need to break even. The fact that they've made almost $100 million on top of that, that's insane to me. So, congratulations, La La Land. Do your thing. Number 4 is Sing. Gross. With $9 million. And right now, domestically, it's got $249, worldwide $427 on a $75 million budget. So, $150, double that. P&A marketing, I'm going to say about $50 million, maybe even more. So, I'm going to say just for shits and giggles, it needs about $250 million. That marketing advertisement was pretty big. So even then, even with a high estimate as $250, it's already made $430. So fun. Number 3 is Hidden Figures with $16.2. Its its budget is $25 million, and domestically it's made $84. So doubling that 25 to 50 with P&A marketing, I'm gonna say, but they probably spent about 10. So the fact that it's made 84 so far is wonderful because Hidden Figures was a really great movie. Number 2 is Triple X, the porno. Return of Xander Cage, with $20 million flat up, and its budget's $85 million. So double that, we're looking at $170 with P&A marketing, maybe $180, $185. They didn't really market that film that much. So I'm gonna say $185 to break even. It's made $70 so far worldwide. Might make its money back, I don't know. Number 1 is Split with $40.1. Wow. That is a lot of money. I didn't expect it to make that much whatsoever. Its budget's unknown, but the fact that Jason Blum produced it, my boy Jason Blum from Blumhouse Productions, his films always are typically anywhere from $10 million or below, so I'm going to say it probably cost about $10 million, 10 to 12. And the fact that it made 45 worldwide opening weekend, this is why Jason Blum is one of the best. But I think $40 million is a humongous achievement for that movie. When you see the movie and you realize how it ends, and seeing this $40 million, possibilities are endless for M. Night's career. And that's all I will say. I will shut up. So that is it for the box of results, guys. And that is it for the show. Thank you for listening. I adore all of you. If you guys want to follow me on Twitter, it's @RealChaseLee. Subscribe to my YouTube page. Click that subscribe button. For Spreaker, click that like button. Comment, share it around, and tell people that this is the definitive movie podcast. Next week, guys. Well, first of all, on Tuesday, happy Oscar nomination day, because on January 24th, which is the Tuesday from this following day, I will be on with Terrence, and we will do an extra episode for the Real Me and Colin Movie Podcast, and we will just go over the nominations and what we want to win, what probably will win. It will be awesome. So Tuesday, look out for the Oscar nomination special. As far as next week for episode 166, I'm probably going to take a bullet for you guys, and I'll probably do Resident Evil, the final chapter, and Gold, the Matthew McConaughey. So you guys will have a big blockbuster, and you'll have a small indie film. So that will probably be next week's show. And next week, hopefully, if everything goes correctly, I can get Graham Zima on the show. He is the host and creator of the Zima Podcasting Network and all those shows and whatnot. So hopefully we can get him back on because he's been on before, and he's just a cool, awesome dude that knows a lot about movies. So next week, Resident Evil, the final chapter, and Gold. So that will be next week's episode, and that is this week's episode. Thank you guys for listening. You guys are fucking awesome. And hey, listen, if you made it through this entire movie podcast and you're not a movie fan, well, hopefully I convinced you to be one. I really hope you guys have an awesome week and a good day, good night, whenever the hell you're listening to this. The outro music is done by my friends band Fervent Roze, and they're going to play us out right now. I'm Chase Lee, guys. Peace out, share this around, and let people know that Reel Me In is here to stay. You guys are awesome.